You start the day knowing exactly what matters. Then an email arrives, a problem appears, someone needs something. All of a sudden, your energy shifts. You become reactive instead of proactive. 3 hours later, you've been busy, but the one thing that mattered still didn't happen. You see, most people don't lose control of their lives all at once, they lose it in very small moments. There is a gap between knowing what to do and being internally ready to do it. And that's what we're going to discuss in this masterclass. Why you lose focus, momentum, emotional control, or even decisive action, even when you know what you should be doing. We're going to properly design and show you the command reset and the patterns that you need to install in order to do this. Now, you may have already gotten access to the 7-minute reset. And if you do, that's great because this is really going to help you. And for those of you that haven't, that's fine because I'm going to give you some really good value that you can use immediately. And then if you want, you certainly can get access to the 7-minute command reset. It'll be definitely one of the best values that you can get, especially at the amazing investment that you'll make. And we'll go into that. But let's get started. I don't want to waste any time. I want to make sure that we understand where we're at here. It's the Command Reset Masterclass. How to interrupt overwhelm, reclaim control, and move forward in minutes. This is the Mind Force method at its essence, in that we're taking this in a very condensed aspect, right? We're not looking to change your entire life, but what we are looking to do is to give you tools that allow you to make the reset when you need it at that moment. 7 minutes is all it takes. Now, does that mean that everything is just going to be fine after that? No, but you reset. And if you have to continually reset, what you're doing is you're building up the muscle memory in your body, mind, and even your spirit to let you know this is what I need to do to reset, to get to where I want to be. You see, there's a command gap. Why knowing what to do is not the same as doing it. And many of us are like that. I know I have been and am in this command gap. And so I have to replay, I have to reset the same way you have to. I want you to understand that we're more alike than different, but it's understanding that when you have the tools to be able to react to these situations and apply installation techniques that work, you're going to get superior results. Intention does not guarantee action. I can't tell you how many people I work with who have intention, but they don't take the action. I call it flight time, putting in the reps. State determines execution. And so if you can put yourself into a specific state, into a specific mindset, you get execution because now you become understanding of these blocks that get in your way. And then again, information alone does not create installation. So a lot of people have great information. I'm sure many of you have read a lot of books, you've attended seminars, you've done courses, and yet you're still in a place that you don't desire. And so we have to break that down into intention, state, and action. So you've got the intention. We have to put you in the right state in order for you to take the action. That's the key. It's simple, but not easy, as a lot of things are. Why do we lose command? Because there's 5 command disruptors. Number 1 is cognitive overload. Too many priorities, too many open loops. You've got so many things you have to do And again, this relates as much in business as it does in personal. And again, we always align things through the three tectonic shifts: mindset, vitality, prosperity. So I want you to frame everything we talk about with those three tectonic shifts. And so you have too many priorities, too many open loops. Number two is emotional interference: fear, frustration, uncertainty, disappointment. When your emotions are erratic with these types of things, fear, frustration, uncertainty, you don't act. Controllers act when they do this because they have the correct tools in order to take them from where they're at to the state they need to be in. Number three is physiological depletion: low energy, stress, shallow breathing, tension. So again, number two is that emotional interference. That's really the mindset tectonic shift. Physiological depletion is vitality: low energy, stress, shallow breathing, tension. You can't perform when you're in a physiological state that is not serving you. And then number four is reactive momentum. You see, interruptions pull you away from what matters. So you set a goal at the beginning of the day, beginning of the week, beginning of the month, beginning of the year. And what happens is you get interrupted, and it pulls you away from what you really want to attain. And number five is identity drift. You stop operating as the commander and you're more of a reactor. I call it controller and reactor. I want you to write these five down. Of course, I'll provide the slides for you so that you can look at it. But when you write something down, you keep this in mind. When you write something down, it causes a neurological effect that's greater than what you get when you just view something. I give you these slides, you look at it, okay, great. But when you write it down and you take a look at each one of these and you look at it from your perspective, not from my perspective of what I'm saying, but what you experience in your own life, that's when it becomes powerful. So always write things down. If you write them in cursive, it's even better because it creates an even more powerful neurological connection. Everything in life that we go through, like I said, follows these three tectonic shifts, but these are all neurologically linked. That's the key. The command loss cycle. What happens when the disruption is never reset? Number one, there's a trigger. Like I said, you get an email, you get a call, you get something happens that takes you off of your game. That causes a state disruption. And all of a sudden, you're just out of it. You know, you're like, how do I get back into that state that I was at? You maybe felt fantastic and a call happens. It could be an argument, could be a discussion, whatever. And so you become now reactive because now you're behind the eight ball a little bit because you had this plan. Now you've got something else because you got something else that's on your mind that's taking your focus, your energy, your vitality. It's taking it and squelching it, which causes delayed action. And so the thing that you set down to do for 30 minutes or an hour has now been pushed off. It now has to be reallocated to some other time frame, which causes reduced confidence. And we start to talk to ourselves in a negative way. Oh, I can't believe it. I'll never be able to get this done. I can't believe this happened. Why did I pick up the phone? Why did I look at that email? Which causes more resistance. So it's a cycle that if we don't get it under control, it controls us. We want to be the controller. In fact, I want you to write down right now, I am the controller. You could say, I am the controller of my life. You could say, I am the controller of my business. I am the control. You can say, I am the controller overall. That's what I say. I'm relaxed in control at all times. That's an affirmation. You're welcome to steal it, which should make sense to you. But why do traditional solutions fail. You've probably tried this. Most people have tried these things. What most people usually do is more information. Let's get more information. If I just have this one technique or tactic or read this one book, it's going to cause an amazing effect. Not necessarily. Motivation. Motivation's great. You have to be motivated, but it can wane. Willpower, I think you know where that is. Sometimes we just don't have the willpower. We can't rely on willpower. It's state dependent in long, impractical routines. When I start working with people, a lot of times they'll say, oh, I want to devote an hour a day to this training, whatever we're doing, whether it's hypnotic influence, whether it's energy training, whatever the case might be. Somebody says to me, oh, I want to start doing an hour. I always say, don't do an hour. I want you to do 15 minutes. Do 15 minutes for a week and get that set, and then move to 20, 30, and so on. What you actually need is you need a pattern interruption that takes you in this negative state, this reactive state, and you need to interrupt it. And you need state recalibration, which means, let's say you get off to the side here, we got to bring it back to center. And then identity restoration. You have to identify again with yourself as the controller. I am the controller. This is the tool that I'm going to use to get back into a control state, a command state versus reactive. And then immediate movement, immediate execution. So again, we're not going to talk about the next 10 things that you need to do in the next week, the next month, the next year. We're going to talk about, and we're going to focus on the next immediate execution point, whatever that might be. You see, you don't need more pressure. You need a repeatable return to command process that's simple and effective. And that's what the 7-minute command structure does. And if you've been using the tool, if you've been using the simple audio file that you listen to, it's 7 minutes. It's not 30. It's not a day. It's not going through an entire course, which, trust me, I have all of that in my repertoire, in the Mind Force method, in the C3 system, in the Mach system. It's all there. However, when we want to get this command structure back, 7 minutes is really all you need. What a real reset must do. There are 7 essential functions. Interrupt. So again, you have to interrupt the current pattern. Pattern interrupt. You need to stabilize. You need to get yourself from where you're at in that interruption, and you need to stabilize yourself. It's kind of like if you were all nervous and jittery, you need, okay, relax. I am calm and relaxed at all times. That's another affirmation for you. Write that down. I am calm and relaxed at all times. So you stabilize. You reclaim attention to where it needs to be, not where you're being pulled to from some outside circumstance. Number 4, restore identity. Again, the commander or the controller identity. You want to reestablish the direction that you're going, activate the state, and then create movement. Again, execution. Of course, the full guided sequence lives inside the 7-minute command reset. You would be foolish not to get it. I don't mind saying that. We all run into these issues, and there is a simple solution. And like I said, even if you have the system, have you used it? Are you using it on a daily basis? When do you use the reset? It's a practical self-diagnostic. If there's one thing that you want to really get good at is self-diagnosis. You want to use it when you feel overwhelmed, scattered, emotionally hijacked. You feel that procrastination rising. Usually procrastination comes from the fact that you have so many items on your list that you get to the point where you're shuffling them. Which one do I do first? And you get stuck before you make that important move. Here's food for thought. Give yourself a command score. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much control do you currently feel over your attention, emotional state, energy, decisions, and actions? And again, you can also put it in the framework of the 3 tectonic shifts. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much control do you have? Mindset, vitality, prosperity. You see, the goal is not to avoid disruption because they're going to happen. If you try to avoid things, a lot of times it's not going to help you. I always look at disruptions as something that's it's like you're on a road and you're passing all these things. And you could look out the window and you could get disrupted by looking at something that's on the road, somebody on the street or a building or whatever the case might be. They're always going to be there. The goal is to be able to reduce the time that you stay under its control. For example, if you're driving a car and you have a disruption of looking at something, let's say you're looking out your window, if you stay focused on that thing, whatever it is, what happens? You could get in an accident. You could lose focus. You could have an issue. So you have to reduce the time that you stay under its control. So that's why the 7-minute command reset. It's your immediate return to command tool. It's a guided reset process, written implementation guide, immediate access to get it going, and you get feedback from me. Now, I also would encourage you to consider the Mach system, Mach 1 through Mach 3. But the key here, without going into a big long seminar, I said this was a masterclass. And so most people that would think of a masterclass as something that is almost overwhelming. I mean, I go to master classes all the time. I go to workshops, and oftentimes they're just overwhelming. What I'm doing is I'm giving you a tight framework to create the states that you need to execute your next most powerful move. And if I can, for just a few minutes, share with you the Mach ascension path if you so desire. Many of you have already done that, but many of you haven't. You see, the Mach system, and why did I come up with the Mach system? Mach is speed. It's 4 levels of command, installation, and support, but it's really how fast do you want to go? Look up Mach online and you'll get a better idea of what that means. It's a progressive pathway designed to meet you where you are and elevate you to where you're meant to be led. You could begin at the level that matches the result, the structure, and the support you need now. Most people will never tell you this. They just throw something at you. Hey, do this, join this, read this. I do something totally different. To me, it's all about the diagnostic. It's all about meeting you at your needs where you're at. And here's the key is you need to meet your own needs where you're at. You don't need me. I just gave you the diagnostic that you can use. I know it's simplistic. Or of course you can use my command diagnostic tool, which is totally free, which there will be a link to it that you can get access if you haven't already done it, you should. But Mach 1 is activate, Mach 2 is install, Mach 3 is accelerate, and Mach 4 is individualize. And let me just break this down. Mach 1 and 2 is where you activate first, then you install the system. Mach 1, I have many different opportunities for you. Self-guided mind force tools, 7-minute command reset, instant mind force, the mindset kit, immersion, any of the books that I've written over the last 20 years. These are specialized self-guidance programs where the investment is extremely reasonable, but it's going to help you create an awareness. It'll interrupt limiting patterns, activate personal power, and generate immediate movement. Mach 1 gives you the tools to begin. Many of you are on this because you're already in one of those Mach 1 programs. Mach 2 is where we install the complete Mach C3 self-guided system. 12-week Mach C3. Command and control core. That's what C3 stands for. Daily calibrations. Plan, do, review, adjust. Micro mastery. Again, breaking it down into the micro. Again, breaking down those tectonic shifts. Mindset, vitality, prosperity, which is the emotional, the physiological, and the financial. You want to be able to move beyond temporary activation and install a repeatable command and control operating system. Everyone that is watching this should access the C3 system. You need to really understand what that means in your life. And by using the C3 system, I can promise you, I can assure you that when you get through, I always say the first 14 days, you'll have a breakthrough. But in reality, the first 1 or 2 days, you will have a breakthrough, a transformation, and you'll be like, where's this been my entire life? For a very small investment. And then Mach 3 is what I call accelerate. So you've installed, and it's now you're taking 12 months of Mach C3 group coaching. You get the full Mach system, but you also get 12 months of group coaching with me, not an underling. You get ongoing implementation support, group calibration and accountability, coaching and strategic guidance, mind force community, and continuing development. You see, you're no longer installing the system alone. C3 by itself is DIY, do it yourself. But Mach 3 combines the system with coaching, accountability, calibration, and community. Now, if you decide after watching this masterclass that you want to take action on Mach 3, I've got a 24-hour action bonus. If you register within 24 hours, you receive a private 30-minute coaching session with me during your first 12 weeks of C3. We'll identify your primary constraint, we'll review your MVP alignment, and we'll set your highest leverage implementation priority. Many of you may know that I do deep dive calls. When I do it for companies and businessmen and women, it's $700 an hour. You're going to get access to 30 minutes, and we can review it to get you the results that you desire. Then we move to Mach 4. This is your fastest speed, where we individualize everything. 12 weeks of private one-on-one coaching with me, not an underling, me, which includes all the Mach 1 tools. It includes the complete Mach C3 system. It includes 12 months of Mach 3 group coaching. And you also get 12 weeks of private coaching with me every other week. Personal strategy and calibration, customized priorities, action plans, direct implementation guidance. You and I are in the cockpit together working on a goal that's going to get you to where you want to be. It's a personal plan, do, review, adjust process. It's the highest level of access, personalization, accountability, and strategic command. Now, the Mach 4, the only way you can get access to Mach 4 is we need to do a deep dive diagnostic. And that deep dive diagnostic is $299. And we'll spend 60 to 90 minutes if we need and really outline for you the entire game plan. Now, when people do the diagnostic with me, sometimes they'll be like, hey, I'm good to go with the diagnostic. I don't really need the coaching, and that's fine. Others realize going through the diagnostic, I definitely want the coaching or need the coaching, and we'll apply that $299 to the investment for the Mach 4 or the Mach 3, whichever one you want to get involved with. But the whole idea behind the diagnostic is that you're going to get clarity. You're going to get a focus that you've maybe never had before. And you're also going to get the chance for a very small investment of only $299 to actually see what it's like to work with me. And you can make that decision after that interaction if it's worth your while or not. And I assure you it will be, because I've been doing this for over 20 years, coaching, mentoring, training people. And that's really the key of what we're talking about here. The question is, which Mach level is right for you? And when I say Mach level, you can look at this from other aspects too, not just what I provide. But this allows you a framework of how you're going to move the quickest and the fastest for your situation. Choose the depth of installation and support that you need now. Not next week, but now. You got Mach 1, which is activate. Mach 2 is install. That's DIY. Mach 3 is accelerate. That's group coaching. And then Mach 4 is individualized. One-on-one training with me, Al Perhacs. Some have called me the Mind Force Mentor. The question is not whether you need more information. You've probably got more information than maybe I even have. But the fact of the matter is, what level of installation and support will move you forward now? Maybe it is DIY, Mach 2. Maybe it is group coaching is what you need. Or maybe it is Mach 4, individualized coaching and training. And I came up with this system, just so you know, based on everything that I've done in my life, starting from when I was bodybuilding, starting from when I was in martial arts, when I started learning hypnosis, any endeavor, even in business. When I first started in business and looking at marketing, I read a book. Back in the day, I went to the library because I didn't have any money to buy books. So I went to the library and I would get a stack of marketing books. And then the next level, of course, back when I got started, there was no YouTube, so you couldn't just go on YouTube and find great information. I would have to attend workshops, seminars, and that was more or less learning. Audio tapes, remember those? CDs, remember those? That was the next level that I was learning from. And then the next level from that was group instruction, which is Mach 3, group coaching, group instruction. And that fell in the same thing with all of those endeavors, every endeavor that I've been in. And then when I really wanted to get serious about something, I went Mach 4. Of course, at the time, I didn't call it Mach 4. I was just looking for a coach, a mentor, somebody that could assist me in what I was looking to do. Because I knew one thing, if I had the right mentor, the right coach, the right person that could assist me at the highest level, I would grow exponentially faster than by doing it on my own. I want you to really think about that. You don't have to make a decision today. Obviously, I did say a 24-hour situation. But my encouragement to you is, if you're kind of stuck, set up the deep dive diagnostic. I'll have all the information and links for you. You can get access to it. If you haven't activated at Mach 1, do that. The investment is small. The commitment's small because you don't have any skin in the game. As you move through the process of the Mach system, you create more skin in the game. The more investment puts you more on the line, which is what you want, because you want to be accountable, not to me, not even to a system, but to yourself. And when you have skin in the game, when you have an investment, you become much more successful, much faster, because now you can take the skills that you're looking to implement and rapidly increase them. And then you have somebody that can hold you accountable to the goals and desires that you set for yourself. I hope this information has been helpful for you. I look forward to assisting you. You can always reach out to me by text, by instant messenger, Facebook instant messenger, or Instagram instant messenger. You can reach out to me if you have any questions. A lot of times people want to just chat for a few minutes. That's not an issue. No investment there. You get a chance to interact with me and see if this makes sense. If it doesn't, that's fine. I encourage you, if you don't have the 7-minute command reset, you can access it today for only $7. And that could start your pathway to move you, not in the Mac system per se, or the Mach system per se, but move you in a direction that's going to take you where you want to go. Again, it's not about me, it's about you. Where do you want to be in the next 2 weeks, 30 days, 6 months, a year, 2 years? You don't want to be 2 years down the road with the concept of, I wish I would have when I could have. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Al Perhacs, author, creator, visionary of the Mind Force method of high performance, esoteric training, coaching, mentoring. I've enjoyed sharing this information with you, and I'll see you on the other side. So long.